Boeing says it'll halt production of its best-selling 737 MAX aircraft in the new year. The decision comes 9 months after the planes were grounded following 2 crashes that killed 346 people. Boeing's continued to build the plane at a rate of 42 each month. Deliveries are frozen. Hundreds of aircraft are in storage. Now Boeing says there will be no layoffs during the production freeze. Last week, the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration said the 737 MAX would stay grounded into the new year. So senior business correspondent Peter Armstrong joins us here. What is Boeing saying exactly tonight?
Well, just that they're going to have to sort of stop the production. They've been making like 42 of these a month, even after it had been grounded. So these planes weren't really allowed to fly. I mean, they're running out of places to put them. They had to get special permission to fly them, to put them in parking lots, basically. So they decided to gear things down. The tricky part for the company, though, is, as you say, they're not laying anybody off. They're not even putting people on furlough. And just to put that into perspective, we're talking about the plant that makes these, the factory that makes them, employs 12,000 people. So this isn't like a line of production. This is a massive operation with some of the most highly skilled technical workers in the country working on putting this plane together and getting it ready to go. So these aren't really workers, especially in the U.S., very tight labor market. You can just let go and hope are around when you want to get back up and running. They've got all kinds of supply chain issues. They've been trying to keep going and cutting deals for a lot of their suppliers just so when they get approval to get back into the air, they can ramp everything back up as best they can. When they found out this is going to go into 2020, they're just like, we can't hold on. So they've announced that they're going to suspend all production of the entire fleet, that they're going to keep all of those employees around. The line is they're going to continue working on other projects related to the 737 in Puget Sound around where they're working. But obviously a very tricky situation, and a tricky place for this company as they're trying to figure out exactly where they are in this process, what is going to happen next, and where will they go in terms of getting that recertification, getting the plane back in the air, if at all.
And when you see the testimony in front of U.S. Congress, you know that they are in a tough situation, at least when it comes to their reputation. So where is this all going? What's the end game for Boeing?
Well, that's the interesting thing here, is I think Boeing really thought, they were quite convinced this was going to get sorted out by the end of December. Now we're hearing probably later into February to get some kind of a ruling around recertification. And will the plane get back into the air? Just about everybody I talk to says yes, that this is going to get recertified. The plane will fly again. Airlines love this plane. It's got like 20% better fuel efficiency than any other plane like it on the market. These are like $100 million planes. It's a big operation, buying them, figuring out what to do with them. The question is, airlines like them. Will passengers, will people like me and you still go in them? You know, if you look on your ticket and it says 737 MAX on it, is that a plane you're going to get in? So will they have to rebrand? Will they have to do a huge PR campaign to try to convince people this is safer? I think those are the bigger questions. This today, the suspension, but the keeping of all their employees raises questions about how quickly they'll be able to get operations running again, if indeed we get to a place where they get that certification. But I think the bigger question throughout this has always been less about the airlines and more about airline passengers. What will people like me and you do once that plane does get recertified?
All right, thanks, Peter. Senior business correspondent Peter Armstrong joining us live in studio.